Finding the perfect cycling shoe can be a daunting task. There's a slew of options and brands to choose from, let alone styles. You have shoes for flat pedals, mountain bike shoes, spin class shoes, road shoes, and those really weird Shimano sandal things. I might not be able to find you your perfect shoe, but in today's video, I'm going to give you just a little bit of insight into why Shimano is my favorite cycling shoe brand and why the RX8 is my favorite mountain bike shoe. So let me first go over a couple of reasons why I love Shimano, and it is not for everyone. To me, if you find a shoe brand that you like, stick with them. Everybody's shoe sizing is different. It's no different than trying to find a running shoe or a shoe to walk in. You're gonna find a favorite. Shimano fits my feet like a glove. They're perfect. When Shimano owned Pearl Izumi, I even tried Pearl Izumi shoes and the mold was different. So don't even think because the same company owns another brand that those shoes are gonna fit the same. So I find a mold that I enjoy, that doesn't make my feet hurt. A lot of times people will think that it is their bike fit is why they'll have hot spots. You could be running your shoes too tight, but a lot of times it is just the fit of the shoe isn't right for you. For me in particular, I've got completely pan flat feet. Like whenever I step, they just squish out like a pancake. A lot of shoes don't work for me in the cycling world. Shimano shoes fit me. That's one reason I love them, but the other reason is they do a 60-day comfort guarantee. This is no sweat off the back of the actual bike shop, and this is what I love because you cannot go into a bike shop and just try on a pair of shoes like you do a normal pair of shoes. You can't just put them on and go walk around. They're gonna feel like crap. Cycling shoes, for that matter, are made to be worn on the bicycle, so you are going to have to ride them for a little bit to really figure out if they are going to fit you correctly or not. With Shimano, you've got a 60-day comfort guarantee. For more or less, if you take the shoes out and wear them for 2 weeks and they're not completely destroyed, Shimano will take them back. Doesn't cost the bike shop anything. They will ship you any size that you want to try, wide, non-wide, different pair of shoes, whatever. Super easy, hassle-free. If you were to buy another company's shoes like Giant, for instance, I'm just going back to them because it's easy because I've tried them before. Once you buy a pair of shoes from them, you're kind of stuck with them. You gotta do them, you gotta use them. It'd be up to the bike shop if they want to take your smelly shoes back or not. So first off, we have to address the elephant in the room. The Shimano RX8 shoes are in fact a gravel specific shoe per Shimano. But even our sales rep said this before, this is also a shoe for like your XC mountain bike racer, cyclocross, whatever. It's not just a gravel shoe. So I wish Shimano would kind of change their marketing maybe a little bit for that, but there is some drawbacks to using a gravel specific shoe for mountain biking, which we'll get into. But I have had a pair of these shoes. I bought them when they first came out. Let me grab my dirty, nasty old ones. These shoes have been through 2 entire seasons of racing. I've done ORAM on these things. I've raced the cross-country scene, short track, done a little cross in them. Numerous hours of riding. And they have held up tremendously. Like, they don't look that bad. I have only washed these things whenever I do a super muddy race. Now let's look at the brand new ones. There you go. Old and new. Nothing changed, right? Same shoe. Shimano was kind enough to give me a pair, but the main points that I want to hit on is it does have a reinforced toe on it. It's not steel toe or anything like that, but the toe cap is reinforced. I had some Shimano shoes. I had some Shimano shoes maybe 4 or 5 years ago that did not have a reinforced toe. Basically, I don't know if they did that to drop weight. It doesn't matter. But after a year of use, it got a crease in them and the toe started to collapse in on itself. And basically every time I rode, it would rub my big toe raw and it was unbearable. Shimano, being the great company that they are, sent me another pair of shoes as a warranty. Those ended up doing the same thing, so I think it's because it did not have this toe cap. This reinforced toe cap also helps for a couple other reasons. It helps you not stub your toe on rocks and roots. It happens more often than you think. But it also protects the shoe, keeps the shoe looking nice. These things per shoe weigh about 285 grams. Your standard mountain bike shoe about the same price point weighs like 330. And that is per shoe, so you're getting 90 grams total off of just your feet. And what I've always told everybody, like, shoes pedals matter a lot, then your wheels and tires. That is where I kind of want to eliminate most of the weight. That's your rotating weight. The farther out the weight is, the more you're going to feel its effects. A lightweight bottom bracket, that kind of stuff doesn't matter as much, but if you're pedaling for 6 hours, you want a light shoe. And 100 grams doesn't sound like a lot. I know you can just take a crap before you go and ride, but when it's on your feet, it matters to me. I have felt the difference in a heavy shoe in a 6-hour race and a light shoe in a 6-hour race.
So cramp action?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, baby.
Good job, dude. It does help, especially with the foot cramps, that kind of stuff. So I want very minimal. The drawback though, if you're comparing this, we're gonna compare this more to like the $230 XC7s because basically it goes from the XC7s to the S-Fires that are righteously expensive. They're like 400 bucks. Big difference, I think. The reason these weigh less is because it doesn't have the same amount of features. Now, the carbon sole, full carbon on the bottom, is extremely stiff. Can't even flex it with my hands when if you were to take a normal cycling shoe that would retail around 100 or 150 bucks even, you'd be able to flex it. You want a stiff shoe. The reason you want a stiff shoe is because you want, essentially, this is your platform to pedal with, so you want it as stiff as possible. So all the power is going straight through the pedal, straight through your wheel well, hitting the ground, but you also don't want your foot to be flexing over and over and over for hours and hours, because the more your foot is flexing as well, the more you have the potential to cramp, because you're using more of your foot muscles, if that makes sense. Am I making sense? I hope I am. So the carbon sole stiffness on this is a rating of 10, whatever number that means from Shimano. I haven't researched how they get their arbitrary stiffness rating numbers, but the XC7s are a rating of 9. That's so nominal, I wouldn't even say that it matters. But I will say, the lugs that are on this thing, I'm glad that it has them. It's like one step above plastic. I know they claim that you have grip with this, but to me, you really only have grip in dry conditions. The moment you want to wear these up at Pisgah and it's a little damp, it is slicker than snot when you wear these things. Big drawback. That is the number one thing that I can say with these shoes that I dislike is how slick they are. They also do not have places for toe spikes like you would have on a true mountain bike shoe. All that being said is that they are a lighter weight shoe. They're not gonna have those features. They are intended for gravel. Now, in the perfect world, I would have a set of these shoes that I would wear 90% of the time, and then I would have a backup set of XC7s that if it started raining or something, I could take those shoes along with me. That is not the case. 90% of my riding, hopefully, is gonna be in the dry weather. I don't get the opportunity to race in the mud that much, well, because I choose not to race in the mud. That is a big drawback. So another thing that I do like about the shoe though, it does have the Boa system. I love the Boa system. If you're not familiar with it, it basically is like a fishing line almost. It's not fishing line, but that's what it looks like. So press this in, ratchet it down, and it draws everything into the center. This one does have one Boa instead of two, which does lower the weight, and it also has Velcro strap here. If you're super worried about the Boa system, Boa has a lifetime warranty. That's how confident they are that their stuff is going to last, so don't worry about it. Short of you accidentally taking your knife to it or a pair of scissors and cutting the string, if that is to break, contact Boa. They will send you a new system free of charge. I've had to use them before. Mine ripped and broke off in a crash. They replaced it free of charge, but if you do accidentally, we have had somebody do this. Quick story time. Guy bought a pair of Boas from us, a pair of shoes with the Boas on it. Immediately took them home, and the tag was wrapped around the Boa on there, and he took a pair of scissors to cut said tag off, cut the Boa right off with it. I don't blame them, they didn't replace that, but a new Boa system, they only charged him like 15 bucks for it, so they're not upcharging. Like, I would expect them to at least charge $50 for something like that, because it's proprietary. Like, there's not another company making a Boa system that is compatible with these shoes, right? So they have every ability and right to charge a stupid amount. We know companies that do this, but they didn't. It was like 15 bucks for a new Boa system. So I do love Shimano's cup in the rear for your heel. If you didn't know, when you're cycling, you're going to be pushing down pulling back, pulling up, and then up and over the top. There is an art to a perfect pedal stroke. These shoes help with that because they have, I don't know if you can see it that well, it's a big cup in here for your heel. So it's almost like a divot where your heel is going to sit in the back of this shoe. They also have Dynalast. If you don't know what Dynalast is, it is, to my knowledge, supposed to be the upper mold of the shoe, and they design it to help mitigate power loss on the upstroke. So not only are you getting the carbon sole for your downstroke, you're getting the Dynalast uppers. All that being said, it is an efficient shoe designed for gravel racing, but I also think that it is the perfect shoe for cross-country mountain biking, for the United States version of cyclocross because we just don't race in the mud that often. Lightweight, cheaper, and lighter than the S-Fires, which is nuts because this shoe is like $270-ish and the S-Fire is like $400 or something ridiculous. Very breathable shoe as well. I can't recommend it enough if you don't think you're going to need something that is extremely walkable. If there's a big hike-a-bike section in a race, I may swap these out for XC7s, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pick these shoes. Super breathable. I can't say enough good things about them. I think also Shimano shoes have a wider toe box than other brands that I've tried. I'm not saying they're the widest, but their standard shoe is plenty wide for me, and I've got completely flat feet. So if you have flat feet, try Shimano shoes out. Also, they do the 60-day comfort guarantee. That's why I think this gravel shoe is one of the best on the market for cross-country mountain bike racing, or mountain bike racing in general. Let's cleat these things up and yeah, take them out on the trail.